Alexa, what time is it?
Good morning, Wendy. It's 7:18 a.m.
Alexa, what's today's date?
It's Thursday, August 8th. If you'd
Alexa,
like, I can tell you interesting history facts every morning. Would you like to enable this routine?
yes, Alexa. Alexa, what is the quote for today?
Here is your quote for August 8th from Jack Ma. Never give up. Today is hard, tomorrow will be worse, but the day after tomorrow will be sunshine.
Ooh, I like that, Jack Ma. All right, guys, day number 2 of our Ironborn Challenge. I believe this one's 30 days. What I'm going to do is mark down how many reps, or no, excuse me, how many sets I do, because yesterday I don't know if I was doing them right. But every time I do one, I'll put a tally down. But anyway, we're going to start off with a warm-up, full body warm-up, 5 minutes. Modifications are included. This is on Mr. and Mrs. Muscles. I did this one many times before. Love it. Like this girl. You jumping right in.
Zero harsh ingredients, zero cleaning compromise.
Let me get the
That's the Huggies Skin Essentials White.
the Ironborn up too. Y'all know we doing that one.
Good morning. It's Thursday, August 8th. It's 7:20 a.m. Currently, it's 71 degrees with cloudy skies. You can expect mostly cloudy skies until tonight. Today's high will be 85 degrees at 4 p.m. and feel like 83. The overnight low will be 72.
Today is back and biceps. And we do the actual workout.
That's just love. You should know some things will hurt. And you will not get it earned. I just hope that you
Hold on now.
know. That's just love. That's just love. You will get back up again, even if you don't know when. And it feels like the world is coming down on you. You have to move on. Deal with your broken heart. No matter what you think, you'll never ever get enough of love.
I like the song.
Every time you feel the walls are closing in, and it seems like nothing makes it better, you should try to remember that's just how it is when it comes to love. Comes to love.
I love that doing the strength training workout.
Sometimes it hurts, and you end up getting burned. But sometimes it can be beautiful. That's just love. That's just love. You will get back up again, even if you don't know when. And it feels like the world is coming down on you. You have to move on. Deal with your broken heart. No matter what you think, you'll never ever get enough of love.
We're gonna finish this John Legend interview. What I've decided to do is I'll put on an interview during the workout. And I'll play that interview, you know, until we finish watching it. So we're still on the John Legend one. I'm about to turn this air on. All right. Now, y'all, we are moving into the actual workout portion of the video. I'm so YouTube. All right, y'all ready for this? We're working on, again, back and biceps, day 2, Ironborn. All right, 4 sets of alternating bicep curls, 6, 5, 5, and 4 for the reps. Upright row, 8, 8, 6, 5. 4 deadlifts, 4 sets of deadlifts, 8, 8, 6, 5. Shrugs, 10, 10, 8, 6. Bent over rows, 8, 8, 6, 5. And bent over flies, 6, 5, 5, 4. This workout, 30 seconds rest between sets, 2 minutes rest after each exercise. So we're gonna do, you know, we might just, I got it. Instead of doing each one, you know, I'm gonna do all the bicep curl stuff first. 6, 5, 5. I might only be able to do 3. We're gonna see. 6, 5, and then 5. All right, here we go.
Most people have no clue that the best way to make money on Amazon
These are bicep
is
curls,
not
so-
with physical products.
Hold on.
It's Amazon's
I'm
other
gonna up my
company,
weights.
Audible.
Because that's the best way for you to go on and live the best life that you can live, is to get that weight off of your shoulder that you're holding on to.
And it's almost hardest doing that with our parents,
Mm-hmm.
because when we're young, you kind of see them as the person who's meant to be the caregiver and the safety
Yeah, and
net.
I think the letdown is bigger.
Dramatic.
Yeah, it's dramatic because you expect them to, you know, they're supposed to have all the answers. They're supposed to do the right
I'm
things.
not. I'm
They're
keeping
supposed to
moving.
show you
Upright
the way to
rows,
do
see?
it. And then when we realize they're not infallible, and then they fall from grace in our eyes, I think the disappointment is even greater.
Yeah, but I love that point you're making, that there's 2 sides, and you got to experience the beauty of your mother's growth and
Mm-hmm.
transformation and change. But it's like that person's like, I'm back.
Yeah,
And
and you're like, oh, okay. You don't know, like, you've gotten used to dealing with not being
No.
with them and not having them in your life. And my parents got remarried during this time, and that was weird. So it was like a lot of dealing with all those feelings, dealing with forgiveness, wondering how to adjust to having that person back in your life. All of that. It was very interesting.
Yeah, mine was kind of the opposite, where like I was encouraging my parents as a 10-year-old to get a divorce.
Hey, deadlifts.
So I was seeing and experiencing, and they would both tell me about what was going on, and I'd be like, I think you guys should separate because I want you both to be happy,
Yeah.
and we'll be happy. And then they stayed together until like 3 years ago.
Okay.
They never separated until now.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like they're so much happier and fulfilled because of it. But they were thinking they were staying together for the kids.
Yeah.
And as a kid, I was like, no. Like, I don't think
That's
this,
so interesting.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think when my parents got divorced, both times. It was the right thing. They got divorced twice, so they're not together now.
Yeah.
My dad's remarried, and my mom hasn't. But
They got divorced
both
twice.
times I think it was the right thing to do. I wasn't actively encouraging it when I was younger. It was traumatic for me when I was younger. But it was the right thing to do.
And shoulder
How are you
shrugs.
finding that now, being a parent yourself? Like, what are the parts of this journey that kind of influence your approach now? Because you are aware that we are not perfect, any one of us.
Yeah,
We're gonna
I'm
make
aware we're
mistakes.
not perfect, but I do feel, I think Chrissy and I both really believe in the idea of creating like stability in our home for our kids, showering them with love and encouragement, teaching them about what it means to be kind, what it means to be loving, what it means to be generous, what it means to be passionate about something and pursue it. All of those things
Hate bent
we
over
want
us.
for them, and we want them to see in us a loving relationship that teaches them what love is supposed to feel like and what it's supposed to be like. I want us to be a great example of what love means for them and how they should expect a partner to treat them, how they should treat their partner. I want to be a good example for them, and I think Chrissy does too. And yeah, I don't want to get divorced. I know that.
Yeah, of course.
Like I really, truly, and you've come from a situation where you're like, well, they should have gotten divorced. This is the right thing for them to do. But I also am like, oh, I really want a stable home for our kids.
Totally.
And
6.
I want them to be surrounded by love and to see in us an example of what love means. And hopefully we can maintain that for decades and decades to come. Like I want us
Absolutely.
to be grandparents, having them over for Sunday dinner, and like I want that for us.
Yeah, I wish that for you too. Definitely, that's beautiful. And I don't disagree with you. I think the point you made there is so clear that you want what stability means.
Mhm.
And I think what sometimes adults don't recognize is staying together is unstable.
Sometimes it is.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
But there's always going to be some instability, of course. But I think that's the challenge. Like we usually see togetherness as stability.
Now we're gonna
and
take our minute
breaking up
break.
as instability. But often
Well, it says
the
2
two people are
minutes.
together, but it's causing more stress for everyone else.
It's true.
Yeah.
And there's definitely circumstances like that.
Yeah.
God forbid that happens to us.
No, of course. Yeah,
I'll
no,
put
of
two
course,
in there.
no. And by the way, it's so interesting what you're saying because I literally just I just interviewed Dr.
That's one
Gabriel
round.
Mate,
Mhm.
and he's like a
Mind you
healing
guys, when I'm
trauma
doing these
expert,
workouts-
researcher, he's like in his 70s. And so
I
he's
may
been
not
doing this
do
his
all
whole life,
4
like, looking at
seconds.
trauma, looking
You know
at
what I'm
addiction, looking
saying?
at children.
If I do 2,
And
that's
he
good.
literally just said what you just said. It's like you can't love your
If
kids
I
too
just do
much.
1,
You know, giving them a safe,
minimum
loving
2.
environment. And I think for a long time I confused love and safety.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized like safety was really what you needed as a child.
Yes, you
Is
really
it?
do. Yeah,
Yeah.
I really truly believe that. And we want to have them feel safe and surrounded by love and care. It doesn't mean you don't want to allow them to make mistakes, but you do want them to feel like they can make mistakes in safety.
Yeah.
And I think
that's good.
when people feel unsafe, it contributes to fear, contributes to trauma, and a lot of things that make their responses unhealthy as they get older, because if they're dealing with so much fear and danger in their lives, it affects the way they respond to stimuli. It affects the way they deal with fight or flight and all these things that kind of, these mechanisms that your body has to deal with trauma and fear. Like if they get activated too much, then it's hard for them to cope with life.
Look
Yeah,
at that.
absolutely. When someone's as exceptional as you are at what you do, I want to hear about like what was the hardest part about getting that good? Like what was when was it challenging to pick up an instrument or learn an element of music? Like what was there ever, or did
I'm
it
about
just
to be
was it just
ripped.
so natural and effortless
Ripped.
that it's always been that way?
Well, there's always effort, and I think part of it is like figuring out what you want to specialize in, what you want to do really well. Like I play the piano pretty well, but I'm not like an expert concert pianist. Like I've seen what they can
5
do,
bicep
and
curl.
I can't do it. And I got good enough at the piano to accompany myself, to accompany others, to write and to perform live. But people that focus on playing the piano are much better at playing the piano than I am. What I've chosen to focus on is being the best singer-songwriter that I can be. So I spend a lot of time focusing on my voice, focusing on songwriting. So those are the two most important things for me, and those are the things that I spend the most time and energy on. And it's not
8 of
easy to
these.
write songs, and it doesn't come automatically, but I've developed ways of getting to that point where I'm pretty good at writing a song. And even my worst songs are pretty good. That didn't come automatically though. It came through like just writing a lot, listening to a lot of music, but also writing a lot of music and trying different ideas, seeing them work, and collaborating with other people who push me and bring out the best in me and give me new ideas. All of that made me a better writer, but it wasn't easy and it wasn't automatic.
Yeah, there's often a perception that people have that the way you write
8
songs
deadlifts.
or whatever is that when someone's going through emotional turmoil, their artistic expression is heightened.
Mm-hmm.
And then when their external circumstances are less stressful, it can be harder to find creativity. Is that true? Is that accurate? Or have you found that you can always, or you have a method to always tap it? Because your songs are like, your lyrics are highly emotive. Your songs are about real issues in your life. It doesn't matter whether your external life has changed. How have you continued to be able to access that? Because I think some people think, oh, when my life was hard, I wrote my best music. And now that
Yeah.
my external life is simpler, because there's no easy life. My external life is simpler, I kind of find it harder to access.
I've gotten so experienced at writing that I can turn it on pretty much at any point. But one of the ways I do that is by bringing other people in the room.
Right.
And so that way you're not always relying on your own inspiration.
10 shoulder
Which
shots.
may be hard to summon sometimes. And I think because I've been such a promiscuous collaborator, it enables me to stay refreshed as a creative person, because even if I don't immediately have an idea, I could be in a room with someone who does, and then I can bounce off of that, build on that, and we can create something together. And then I also have quite a bit of methodology around my songwriting that makes it easier for me to tap into my creativity and tap into that inspiration, so that when I have it, I'm able to go from inspiration to completion in a way that's tried and true for me. And that's what I spend a lot of time on in the masterclass, is just explaining, like, this is my methodology for writing a
8
song.
bent over rows.
The inspiration is going to come from different places. Sometimes it comes just from, I dream about a song and I sing it into my phone and remember it that way, record it for later, and then go to completion when I go back to the studio and I sit down to write. But either way, the inspiration is going to come at some point. Sometimes it's just a riff that somebody else plays or a beat that someone else plays, and then it leads me into a vocal melody, and the vocal melody leads me into like a feeling of like, this is what this song feels like to me. This is what the story is that I want to tell. And then I know how to build a song pretty easily from those kind of seeds of ideas. And yeah, that's what I spend a lot of time on in the masterclass, is just teaching that once you get this seed of an idea, here's how you
5
take
flies.
it to a complete song. And it works really well for me because it makes it so that I can write, once I have the idea, write pretty quickly.
Yeah, and I think I want to unpack that for everyone, because I think from anyone that I've sat down with who I believe is extremely high performing in their space, obviously everyone on a masterclass is at that level in their field. And then when I've sat down with people like Kobe Bryant as well, or like Novak Djokovic or Jennifer Lopez, it's like everyone always talks about this balance. With what you're saying perfectly is like there's inspiration and then there's regulation.
Mhm.
There's like actual methods,
Yeah.
processes, structure. It's like we all think that there's a
Oh,
magic
that's good,
moment,
Jay.
Mhm.
which it
Jay
sounds
really
like there
deciphered
is.
what he was
Yeah.
saying.
That magic
Said it
needs
again.
to turn into a
Spoke it out.
method
Yes.
in order to actually turn it into something beautiful.
Absolutely, and the people that you were referring to, like Kobe, he was so naturally gifted. So he had this God-given gift to be this amazing
I'm gonna
athlete.
do one more set.
But
Get ready.
he took the gift, which some people have and don't
60
maximize
second
it
break.
like he did. He took that gift and worked so hard, practiced so hard, spent so much time in the gym. Like, there needs to be more to your ability than this natural ability. It needs to be called.
Well, you hear them, young? Needs to be more to your natural ability than natural ability. You need to cultivate it, fine tune it. I like these little videos and stuff because they be dropping dimes, man. They do. All right, let me go back on.
It needs to be honed. It needs to be practiced. And with songwriting, I've gotten to that point where it's not just, oh, I have a gift for music, oh, I can sing, oh, I have a good ear. It's, oh, I've spent a lot of time honing my craft as a songwriter, and it helps me figure out how
5.
to take this idea and make it a song that works.
Yeah, and I love how everyone's different. Like, I completely agree with you. Like, when I'm doing this, it's like, even though I'm not in the same field as you,
Mhm.
you could say something, I'm like, oh, I need to do more of that.
I mean, and when Kobe passed, I spent a lot of time just thinking about just like what it takes to be someone like him, and I think it really inspired me. It's like, you really, like, if you want to be great, if you want to be like world-changingly great at something, you got to put in the time and energy to do that. And
Look at that.
It can be inspiring to see examples of that in the world, and then say,
6.
yeah, I want to be more like that.
Yeah, well, even when you're giving the example of when you're in the studio and you're bringing people in, like for
Mhm.
me, the podcast is like that. Like, I sit down with people that I'm not in the field of at all,
Yes,
and I get to, I'm like, oh, that's how they do it in their field. How can I apply that
yes.
to mine? And I think that's what Masterclass does great. But because we had Russ on, the rapper,
Mm-hmm.
and he was talking about the opposite, where he was like, I don't like having anyone in the room with me, because if people are in the room with me, then I don't get to be silly, or I don't get to be totally expressive. So he said to us, he was like, I get rid of everyone, and then I make weird sounds into the microphone.
Sorry, y'all, if y'all really into this. But again, this is John Legend on the Jay Shetty podcast. It's on YouTube free. But I watched that interview with Russ the rapper, and it was good. That's another one that was on Jay Shetty's podcast, because I didn't even know who dude was. All right, so what did we just do? Upright rows. Now we're gonna do deadlifts, 6 of them. 6 deadlifts.
To see what works for me, whereas if my boys were there, he was saying, if my boys were there, he was like, they would all laugh at me.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering, who do you like having around you? Like, could you give us an example of some people that you've sat with that you're like, and they don't have to be even people that we know, they could be other people behind the scenes, but someone that you're like, oh yeah, when they're in the room, they kind of spark me this way or that way.
Well, I take his point
Yeah.
as saying you don't want people around that aren't totally bought in creatively,
Totally.
because you want people in the room that are in there to create something beautiful with you. And if they're there to be like
Squeezing the
they're trying to-
booty when I come up from them.
what my sense is, I don't know him,
Yeah.
and I don't know his friends,
Yeah.
but my sense is that he's saying like he might want to be
Eight of
too
these.
cool around them,
Yes.
and if he's too cool around them, he may not come up with the best art.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to have. I don't have random people in the studio when we write.
Yeah.
Like, I have only writers in the studio, and we just sit there and vibe off of each other and see where the vibe takes us. And hopefully everybody's bought in to the idea that we just want to make something amazing and something beautiful and something interesting and something that's a great song. And they're not worried about being cool, not worried about anything else other than let's make this great.
That idea of being around people that you're okay to make mistakes around,
Mhm.
be fearless around, like that's
Yeah.
the kind of people you want in the room.
And we just try things, and I try not to have any ego about my ideas. So that means
6
if,
Fender
like,
Burrows.
I do a thing called a mumble track usually, where I just mumble a melody and see if we like it. And some of the other writers in the room may do the same thing, and I'm like, oh, I like their idea better than mine. And I think you need to have that openness to other people's ideas, that humility when you're a collaborator. And so I think part of what I'm really good at is that spirit of collaboration. So I understand that all the great ideas don't need to come from me, and
Go ahead,
that I can benefit from this other energy and creativity in the room,
Yeah.
and be open to it, be humble enough to receive
5
it
Fender
and
Burrows.
not think that it all has to come from me.
Yeah, egolessness is hard though. Like, that's like,
Yeah.
especially as you become more successful,
Mhm.
like, I think that's something people struggle with because you
Well,
have
so-
to trust yourself to some degree. So how did you?
Well,
yeah.
I think so. Well,
Yeah.
the interesting thing about ego is like the people that you think of that have big egos are also very insecure. So it's like, it's a very interesting thing about that combination of the inflated ego and the heightened insecurities at the same time.
Yeah.
And it can be very debilitating when that's the issue because a lot of times when you hear, well, this artist, whenever they come, they won't let you look at them, they want this and that. And
We're doing
what
one more
I
step,
hear
we
when
can
I
make
hear
it.
that is not, oh, they think so highly of themselves. I think, oh, they're pretty insecure, probably.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting thinking about that and what that means and what they kind of, I don't know what the psychology is behind that, but it's an interesting combination that I've observed in the world is that people that are seen as having big egos and being difficult to work with are also usually pretty insecure.
Exactly. I think you're spot on. When I started the show, when I started interviewing people, I noticed that too. But there was natural social anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people were just so used to being on when the camera was on
Mm-hmm.
that's when they came in at full force. But
Mhm.
then when the camera was off, it's not that they didn't care; it's
Mhm.
that they didn't even know how to connect because
Yeah.
they've been so trained in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And so you're right. I think it's so interesting that from the outside we can be like, oh, that person has an ego, or
Mhm.
they're being arrogant, or they're braggadocious, or they have a
Yeah.
bravado, but it's not that. It's
Yeah, my assumption is that they're probably insecure. That's
Yes,
usually my
yeah.
assumption.
yeah.
Mhm.
No, that's well said. I'm going to give you a bit of context before this next question because so my wife, we've been married for 10 years now.
Mhm.
Married for 6 years, been together for 10 years,
Mhm.
and my team was looking at it the other day, and she was reading a book, and they were like, "Oh, what are you reading?" Because she'd taken the cover off. She was like, "Oh, I'm reading my husband's book. Like, this is my book, which I wrote 2 years ago now, 2.5,
Uh-huh.
2 years ago." And they're like, "What? Have you not read it?" Like most of my teams read the book, and she had it, and they're like, "No." She was like, "No, I never got around to it. You know, I read bits." So like, so my question is, I heard Chrissy said something similar, where like she sees the name of a song, and then she's like wondering, like, wait a minute, how did he call that the name of the song? Like, is she your number one fan? Does she listen to everything, or do you often find that like she's catching up with everyone else?
Well, she doesn't love hearing like demo versions of songs.
Right.
So she doesn't
Coming up.
like to kind of be in the sausage making part of the album.
Yeah.
And so she'd rather hear
Sausage
it
making.
once everything's done. And so that ends up meaning that she's like learning about things when, you know, close to when a lot of other people are learning about them too. And so, yeah, there are times where she's like, oh, news to me.
Yeah.
But she just doesn't like to be in early on the process because she's found, I think from when we first started dating, that when she fell in love with the demo versions, that we changed them so much that she didn't like, you know, kind of falling in love with the early
Fine.
versions because it kind of almost disappointed her when the finished version was out because she felt like less connection to it.
Oh, wow.
So she decided she just didn't want to be involved early on in the sausage making.
Well, she has good reasoning. My wife just didn't have time for me. But I find that's
Oh,
interesting
Jay.
in couples, right?
It's like, oh, my wife just didn't have time for
you're
me.
talking about being a good example as a couple and
Mhm.
trying to build that loving relationship. Like, I find that in an immature stage in my relationship, I constantly wanted my wife to be my number one fan.
Uh-huh.
Like there was a time where I was like, I wanted her to read everything and listen to everything,
Five
and watch
deadlifts.
everything, and share everything, and like this. I'm talking about like maybe like 7-8 years ago.
Mhm.
And then as time went on, I just started to realize I was like, well, she's not with me for those things,
Mhm.
right? Like she can support them and appreciate them,
Sure.
but she's living with the real me and is experiencing that. Like, I guess my question is like, how do couples appreciate and admire each other in an effective way when often we just lean on our partner for validation and glorification often?
Yeah, I still really want Chrissy to be into my work.
I love it.
And I think more so because like it just feels good to know that she has good taste and
Good
she loves music and that she likes something I did. Like, you know,
That was funny. He said, I want her to be into my work because it feels good to know that she has good taste. Because if she's into his work, she has good taste. Did y'all pick up on that? That was funny. All right.
like that's awesome and I want her to love it and I respect her a lot and I trust her a
6.
lot and I feel like she has good taste. So if she likes something I did and she especially likes it, then that's a really good sign for me.
Yeah.
So it feels good. Like it's not that I'm insecure about it. It's
Oh.
that like I really want her to love it, and
Yeah.
I want everyone to love it, but I want her to love it more.
I know, I'm the same. I was
Yeah.
doing something recently, but
Yeah.
my wife's also the person that will give the most honest feedback.
Yes.
Like, I will practice a presentation or whatever I'm doing in front of her, and she will just pick it apart. But I know she's doing
I
it
like
out
his
loud
wife,
because
too.
she also wants
His
me
wife
to
is
be
Rodney.
incredible at what I do.
And we help each other so
That's
much.
how I learned about the
and we
Ayurveda from
believe
her.
in each other, and we support each other so much. So, when she's working on a cookbook, I'm, helping her. I'm tasting stuff. I'm doing whatever I can to help. And, we collaborate on a lot of business things together. So there's a lot we do
Five
together.
Bendivaros.
But she doesn't like to be in the weeds of my music creating career. But she goes to a lot of my shows. She always has feedback for,
Yeah.
how we can put the show together better, be more effective at, the set list and arrangements and different things like that. She has ideas about how it should look, and she's given me great feedback over the years on that kind of stuff. So I'm always happy when she's proud of me and when she's excited. That's when, I feel very like, okay,
Yeah.
we're doing something right here.
Yeah, no, I feel that. I can relate to that too. Like,
You're doing
if
something
I do
right
something
because
with my
she's
wife,
proud of me and
it's a
happy.
different-
Mhm.
It's a different form of happiness.
But I
Like my
get it.
Vegas show, like I'm so proud of it, but it was especially good for me to hear that she was so proud of it,
Yeah.
and so excited to show
Four
her
flies.
friends and tell people about it, because that just, it was like,
You be feeling
it's
good when you work out.
an
Yeah.
extra good feeling when
Good.
she
You look in
says
the
it.
mirror.
Yeah,
like,
definitely. No, I
let me
relate.
get
And
dressed
I
and
think the
stuff.
question came from, I think it was when she said something about when she saw the song
All right,
title.
Four
I don't love you
Bendiver.
like I used to.
I don't love you like I
Yeah,
used
yeah,
to,
yeah.
and that's an interesting
It's a
song
great song. It's
for
a
a
good song.
couple, because it's like, when you go through things together, you learn more about each other,
Totally.
you grow, and it's not the same kind of love you had when you first met.
Yeah.
When we first met, we were like very attracted to each other. It was our chemistry was great, but that level of attraction is more like infatuation at the beginning of a relationship, and love when
Love is getting through them hard times and not wanting to quit and give up. That's not even. Whew. I don't know if any of y'all are married or whatever, but I'm in a relationship and I see. We don't know nothing for those people that been married for 25 years and all that. What they have to put into to keep that going. Whew. All right, y'all, so we got to do a quick warm up because a cool down, excuse me. There's an upper body. Well, this is upper body warm up. I know there was an upper body cool down I had on here. Come on, y'all, hold on. I know I remember seeing a cool down. 5-minute full body cool down. We're gonna do this one. Good job today. We did 4 reps of our workout. Oh, here goes this girl again. I gotta face the TV. Y'all gonna be seeing my back. I didn't even realize it's the one I put on. It feels good though, I'll tell you that. I gotta find some other cool downs and stuff, warm ups to add to this playlist for y'all and for myself. gotta make sure I allot a half an hour to work out now. So that means I have to start working out by 6:30 each day. Or by 7. To be done by 7:30. Kind of lobby then.
Sorry, the Modern Mindset School is no longer available. You can find more skills in your next segment.
I'm gonna do one more. That's it, y'all. That was a good workout, huh? Very good. Very good, very good.
How many hours do you work out to look like that? I don't work out. Yeah, so how often do you meet with a dietitian? Never. I don't go to
Really?
the doctor anymore. But how do you stay so healthy? I learned the 13 foods that help or hurt the body. Practice
don't work out.
mindfulness. I balance my hormones. How did you balance
All you do is
your
balance your hormones.
without a doctor?
I don't
just
believe it.
discovered Dr. Livigood's best-selling guidebook to health. How much is it?
You gotta move your body.
Vince is my second nature.
All right, listen to this.
I thrive on self-confidence. Nothing is impossible, and life is great. I am proud of myself.
This is what's gonna be playing in the morning when my daughter wakes up. She hears this, and I hear
I'm
it.
proud to be me.
As I'm walking back and forth throughout the house, getting ready for us to leave on out. This is what we're gonna listen to.
Every time I breathe in deeply, I can feel my energy build. It is a gentle acceptance of my greatness.
So if y'all want to know who this is, because I be finding them. This is in my meditation playlist, but I'll tell you who it is. It's Confidence Affirmations, Reprogram Your Mind. I think this is Why You Sleep. It's Jessica Heslop. Let me show you.
And magnificent.
All right, y'all. Please do something positive today for your mind, your body, your soul, and of course for someone else. Y'all take care, and I will see you in the next video.